Okay, after that introduction, we're going to film episode 3 of the shark dissection, the dogfish dissection. And actually, I'd like to start off by... You know I ain't come to play the whoops. Don't say I'm a favorite name. Sound engineer had a little screw up there, that's all right. Okay, I wanted to first to go back to the rostrum. So here on this male, I've made a section through the nares so that we could look at the olfactory bulbs. And if you look in the bulb itself, you can see a bunch of lamellae here that I'm pointing to with the probe. Okay, that's where the olfactory receptors are. So as the shark swims through the water, water comes in through the incurrent nares, flows around, through, I should say, through all these lamellae and then out the excurrent. Okay, so what I really wanted to do today is to look into the pericardial cavity, look at the heart, some of the branchial circulation, and then look at the structure of the gills. So I've made an incision through the pectoral girdle. So the pectoral girdle is the cartilage that supports the pectoral fins. And so we can open this up. And as we do, this then is the pericardial cavity. This is the remnants of the pericardium that surrounds the cavity. And we're looking at the ventral aspect of the heart here. And the heart in fish is a two-chamber heart. It has one atrium and one ventricle. So blood is collected, returning blood, deoxygenated blood from the body is collected in a sinus called the sinus venosus, and then it flows or is drawn into, let's look at this, the atrium. So the atrium is the first chamber of the heart. Here, if I can get this out of the, there we go. And so this is the atrium. It's fairly thin-walled, isn't it? Okay, it serves to collect blood and then pump it into the muscular ventricle. So since we're looking at the ventral surface of this fish, the atrium is the dorsal chamber, and then the ventricle is the ventral chamber of the heart. So the ventricle then will contract and pumps blood into what's called the conus arteriosus. Okay, and that's this area right here. And this is similar to the bulbous arteriosus we talked about in bony fish, and it's a contractile area. It's got one-way valves in it so that blood can't flow backwards, and essentially it evens out the blood pressure in the fish. From the conus arteriosus, then we go into the ventral aorta here, and we can see right there where the ventral aorta is branching, and there are some other branches that have come off here. So essentially one branch to each gill arch on each side of the fish, and these are the afferent branchial arteries. So you can see one there, you can see one there, must be one down there somewhere, and you can see that one, this branch right at the anterior most end. I hope we can see that here. So just to review then, atrium's down here, the ventricle, the conus arteriosus, the ventral aorta, which is branching into the afferent branchial arteries. Okay, so that's part of the branchial circulation. Now let's go to this preparation here, where I made a section across the gills here so that we can see the structure of the gills. Okay, so if we're look right down here, you can see I've sort of cut through the heart. Let's go here. So I've cut through the atrium. The ventricle is right there, part of the conus arteriosus here. The remainder of the conus and the rest of the branchial arteries are in this section. But what I'd like to show is the gills themselves, the gill arches. Okay, and so we can see we have one set, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have really 4 arches that have complete holobranchs. That is, there's a hemibranch on this side and a hemibranch on that side. And you can see here's that interbranchial septum, which grows out from the arch all the way to the exterior of the fish. And let's actually, I'm going to move over to this part of the section here because this shows it a little better. So here are those gill arches. 1, 2, 3, 4 that have gills, complete holobranchs on them. And then you can see the interbranchial septum coming out here, forming a valve on the outside of the exterior of the fish so that water can't flow back this way. Water can only flow out. And then a hemibranch on this side, a hemibranch on that side of the interbranchial septum. Now, one other thing we can look at this point, remember we said there were spiracles here on the dorsal surface, the paired spiracles, and if we insert our probe here, we find that it comes right out here into the gill chamber. So, and we also know that the spiracles are fitted with one-way valves as well. You can sort of see it as I touch it with the probe. That prevents water from backflowing this way. It can only go that way into the gill chamber and across the gills, and then in between the hemibranchs here, and then out through the gill slit. Okay, so that pretty much completes what I wanted to show everyone on the dogfish dissection. And yeah, you can review this for the final. Okay.